Nana Oyelitha's question. We'll take a question from the ARC Foundation's Mrs. Marian Atabuachi. Nana Oyelitha.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Most at-risk populations in Ghana continue to suffer human rights abuses, despite the fact that their rights are guaranteed under the 1992 Constitution. I'm speaking about commercial sex workers, persons who live with HIV, men who have sex with men, and injecting drug users. They are heavily stigmatized and discriminated against. And this affects their ability to access HIV preventive services. Mr. President, they also have higher rates of HIV infection, and I know HIV is very dear to your heart. Apart from that, the service providers are unable to provide services for these groups because some of their activities are criminalized. My question to you, Mr. President, is that if you are voted into power in December, what interventions will you make to ensure that these individuals who have human rights and who are equal with everybody else in Ghana are able to realize their right to dignity, their right to privacy, their right to equal opportunity and employment, and also their right to health and their right to be free from stigma and abuse? What will your 3 top interventions be? Thank you.
Thank you, Nana Oye. Often when it comes to issues of stigma and discrimination, they are a very complex thing. They are born out of people's prejudices acquired as a result of their upbringing. They're not easy to dislodge. It takes a lot of education and awareness to be able to let people see that these people are the same as you. Indeed, they are your brothers, they are your sisters, they are your cousins, they are your relatives. What has changed? Because they are injecting drugs? That's when they need your sympathy more and your help. Or because they're commercial sex workers, that's when they need your sympathy and your help more. And so we need to create an awareness amongst our people that these are our people. They haven't changed because of what they are into. Your son will remain your son if even he becomes a drug user. And your duty is to try and, give him the support he needs to be able to help himself. And so, unfortunately, when it comes to stigma and discrimination, it needs a lot of awareness creation. It needs a lot of education. And my hope is that you'll be able to get a lot of the opinion leaders, traditional rulers, religious leaders on your side or on our side to be able to assist in creating this awareness. I remember when we launched the HIV strategy. At the time I was Minister of Communications. That's when we set up the Ghana AIDS Commission for the first time. And we came up with a very big communications program together with Johns Hopkins University. And we saw that prevalence rates were going up. And we needed to encourage people to stop having unprotected sex. And so we needed to get them to use condoms. And so I remember we came up with some adverts, if it's not on, it's not in. The religious community and the traditional community were up in arms. They would have grilled me over hot coals, if they had the opportunity. But gradually, education, we told them, look, your churches are going to be empty, your people are going to die, you'll be a traditional ruler without subjects, because they're having unprotected sex. And it's only then that eventually people came on board. We couldn't advertise condoms before on television. It had never happened. Today, condoms are advertised. Condoms could be found only in pharmacy shops. We took them out of pharmacy shops. You had to go to the counter and ask the sales clerk behind the counter, can I have a condom? And most people were not willing to do that. And so today we took them, we put them in the shell mats. After you pick your items and you go to the clerk, then you slip it in there, they quickly. You know, we did it. Thank you, thank you. Okay, a lot of people are familiar with the practice, I can see. Thank you. No, because we did a survey. When we decided to put condoms in the shell mats, we had to see where would it be most convenient to put it so that people are able to buy it without any inhibition. And so we thought of creating a special shelf where you could just go pick it and put it in your this thing. And there were various suggestions. And then eventually the suggestion that won was put it by the cash till, so that when they finish the purchases and they put the purchases on, they can just slip it in and pay for it. But that's an aside. I'm talking about awareness. Like you said, unfortunately, some of these things, there's criminalization, and that is a major obstacle. I know people like you have been brave, and others, and raised issues about legalizing prostitution, and you should see the uproar that has occurred. And so there are things that are based on years of prejudice and on years of conditioning. And it's not going to be easy to just change them against the will of the vast majority of the people. And so we need to continue to work with you to let people understand what is involved in these things and then see how we can make things better for this category of people. Thank you.
Thank you very much.